Hello everyone and welcome back to LeeReader. My name is Lee and it is time for my June wrap-up and my July TBR. So June was an amazing reading month for me. I managed to get 6 books finished in the month of June, which is insane. I never read that much in one month, but I was just so inspired to read. I had loads of opportunities to read, so I made the most of them and I managed to read 6 amazing books that I really enjoyed. There was a book that I started and I didn't finish, which I'll talk about in a minute, but apart from that I chose 6 brilliant books, which I'm super happy that I read. So the book I didn't manage to finish was The Awesome by Eva Darrows. Now, I just felt super uncomfortable reading this book. It had a lot of potential, but there's a scene in this book that I really didn't enjoy. So the book is about a 17-year-old girl who is from a family of monster hunters, and to become a fully fledged monster hunter, she has to lose her virginity, which was a strange plot point, but there's a scene in this about 3 chapters in where she goes to a party and she's trying to basically willingly lose her virginity in a situation that made me feel very uncomfortable. She's trying to lose it in a way that she goes to a party, she finds someone who's drunk, he takes her upstairs, and he starts to do his thing and she's like, I don't really want this. And it was heading in the direction of kind of a bit abusey and a bit rapey, which I didn't like, so I just stopped reading there. I mean, I probably should have powered through, maybe give the book a second chance, but I just felt super uncomfortable reading that chapter, and I was just like, this isn't for me. So unfortunately that put a stop to this book. So let's talk about the 6 books that I did manage to finish. My carryover from May was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. The book was okay. I think if you might remember me saying it's very much like The Hunger Games, and it definitely carried on that way. It had so many similarities to The Hunger Games that it kind of put me off a little bit. It's a good book. It had great potential, I believe, but overall it was a bit too Hunger Games-esque. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I was talking to a friend of mine and she said that she liked it because it was so similar to The Hunger Games. Now, in my head, if I wanted to read something like The Hunger Games, I'd just read The Hunger Games. So that's a thing with me. I mean, it's not a bad book. I think there's going to be a second one, which I'll probably end up reading in the hopes that it might take a different turn. But yeah, it was a little predictable. It was, like I said, too Hunger Gamesy. It had great potential, but overall I wasn't a huge fan. Next up comes a book that I got as a proof, and that is Night Owls by Jen Bennett. So I really enjoyed this book. It's kind of your general YA. It's a girl meets boy story, but it's got some nice twists in, which I don't want to go into yet, because the book's not out and a lot of you may not have read it. So, but it's a really good book. I'm looking forward to its kind of general release. I think a lot of you will enjoy it. It's about a girl named Bex who meets a boy named Jack on the night bus, and it's about their relationship. It's very good. It's very well written. I think there are a lot of good points, like the fact that Bex has a openly gay brother. Her mum is a single parent. It's about their family compared to Jack's family, who are quite well off. Again, not going to go into details because there are some spoilers in there, but it's about that, and it's about how they grow as a couple. But it's a good read. I really enjoyed it. Again, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I wanted a little bit more from it, but it's a good read. I definitely enjoyed it. Next up comes a book that is now easily one of my favourite books of all time, and that is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I have had this book for so long and I've just never bothered to pick it up. It's just been sitting on my shelf. My friend gave me this and everyone's going, you need to read it. And when I stopped reading The Awesome, I moved on to this, and I'm so glad I did. This book is simply phenomenal. So the book is set in 2045 and it follows a guy named Wade, and the world has kind of become a bit of a desolate ruin and a lot of people live on an online game called the Oasis. Now, a couple of years before the book is set, the creator of Oasis has died and he has left a multi-billion-dollar fortune to whoever finds the hidden Easter egg within the Oasis. The book follows Wade's journey into trying to find the Easter egg and his relationships with those around him who are also trying to find the egg. I can't put it into words how great this book is. There are tons of video game references, 80s references. It's just wonderful. It's beautifully written. I just can't get over how good it is and how long I've been putting this book off. But if you have this book on your shelf and you haven't read it, please go and do so now. After I finished Ready Player One, I moved on to the new Patrick Ness book, which is called The Rest of Us Just Live Here. Now, I've never really read any Patrick Ness, so I was excited to read this, and it was brilliant. It's so funny. It's kind of making fun of a YA book while being a YA book in itself. it's just genius. It's so funny. There's kind of like two storylines running parallel, and he's kind of giving you a brief summary of the one but then going into detail with the other, and it's just phenomenally written. It's just brilliant. The book follows a guy named Mikey and about his group of friends and how there's a ton of weird stuff happening around them, which is to do with the other storyline, which you kind of get a bit about, but it's just about them and just how they want to graduate and get on with their lives, about how all this weird stuff keeps happening, but it doesn't happen to them, it just happens around them, and it's brilliant. It's just so well written. I'm excited for when this book comes out, and I'm excited for you all to read it. Seriously, go and check it out. It's going to be a brilliant book. I was then sent a proof through the post, which I was so excited to read, I just had to start it, and that is Armada by Ernest Cline. Now, Ernest Cline is obviously the author of Ready Player One, which I enjoyed so much, and this book is just as good. It is a really good book. So the book follows a guy called Zach Lightman, who one day sees a spaceship outside of his school, and he's a bit confused. He's like, why is that there? Because that's from a video game. And he doesn't think much of it until he realises that a video game he has been playing is actually a recruitment drive from the government to recruit people to try and stop an alien invasion that is going to happen. Zach, being one of the best players in the country, gets recruited and has to fight the aliens away and stop the world from being destroyed. It is a super fun read. It is just brilliant. Again, the writing style is very similar to Ready Player One. Obviously it's a different story, but Ernest Cline's writing is just wonderful. You can picture everything that is happening. It's a really good book. Again, it isn't out yet. I think it comes out in about 10 days time, but go and check it out when it does, because it's just a brilliant read. Now, lastly on my list was a book that was in my recent book haul, and that is Monster by Ailey Martinez. This is one of the funniest books that I have read. It is about a girl called Julie who strange things just keep happening to her, and she doesn't really know why. Like, creatures just keep appearing, and she runs into a guy called Monster, who is a cryptobiological containment and rescue serviceman. Basically, he comes and takes away things like yetis and wild rams and a ton of different stuff, but it's brilliant because Judy's not magical in any way. She can't remember the stuff that's happening, so she'll remember parts, and she recognises Monster every time she meets up with him, and she's like, why do I know you? I feel like I know you. It's just brilliant. It's hilarious because Judy's just so nonchalant about the whole thing, but she's part of a bigger ordeal, which is brilliant. It's just a fantastic read. It's super short. Again, it's only like 300 pages. It's just brilliant. Let's just really go and check it out. If you're into anything sci-fi or you're like monsters, definitely go and give it a read. So those were all the books that I read in June, so let's move on to my July TBR. So I have 5 books on my TBR list for July, but I've got to get a lot of them read before I leave to go on holiday. I am going to America in about 2.5 weeks time for VidCon. I'm so excited. If you're going to VidCon, come and say hello. I'm so excited, but I'm going to want to experience everything, so I'm probably not going to be sitting reading while I'm over there. So I am going to try and get a lot of these done before I leave. Now, my carryover book from the end of June heading into July is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. As a lot of you know, Ghost Set a Watchman is coming out in a couple of weeks' time, so I wanted to get this book read. I'm about 200 pages. It's a very good book. I understand why it's so popular, but I'm still not 100% sure as to what the point of the book is yet. I've never been very good at like analysing books and finding like deeper meanings, but there are some beautiful characters in it, especially Atticus, who I know is a major character. So yeah, I'm hoping that once I get a little bit further into it, things will start to become a bit more clearer. But it's a good book. I'm really enjoying it. Hopefully have this finished soon, but I'm very much looking forward to Go Set a Watchman. Next on my list is the book that I have promised Trina that I will read if she reads Ready Player One, and that is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. Now, everyone loves this book. Again, this is a book that has been sitting on my bookshelf for a long time, and it's about time that I got it read, to be honest. So I've said to Trina that if she reads Ready Player One, I will read A Dark Shade of Magic. So again, I'm very excited to read this book. It is about a time-travelling magician, and there are 3 different Londons. There's a red London, a white London, a black London, and a grey London. I think maybe there's 4, I'm not sure, but he can jump between the 4. But yeah, a lot of you probably already know about this book. I'm very excited to read it. Again, it's been sitting on my shelf for a long time, so just want to get it finished this month. After that comes a book that was also on my recent book haul, and that is The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. Now again, I've heard really good things about this book. Again, it's a nice light read, and with it being summer, I don't really want to have any really heavy books to jump into, and this is a book for book lovers. mothers, I've heard. So I'm very excited to read this. It's supposed to be quite light-hearted, quite fun, but quite touching at the same time. It is about a guy who runs a bookshop and he gets left a baby, and he's left basically in charge of this baby. It's about him and his relationship with the baby, his relationship with the bookshop. So yeah, looking forward to it. It's supposed to be a very good read. I heard some great things, so I'm excited to read it. Next up on my list is also a book that has been very much talked about recently, and that is How to Be Both by Ali Smith. Now this book recently won the Bailey's Women's Prize for Fiction here in the UK, so it's got a lot of popularity going on around it at the moment, a lot of buzz. Again, it's supposed to be a very, very good book. I've heard some great reviews from different booktubers about it. So again, it's been sitting on my shelf, so I just thought I would give it a try. I'm excited to read it. It's about a girl in the 1960s and a man in the an artist in the 1460s, sorry, and how their lives kind of intertwine, I think. It's something along those lines, but it's supposed to be very, very good. It's tales of love and an injustice twist into a singularly yarn where time gets timeless. Apparently, I've just read the back. So yeah, I'm very excited to read it. Again, it's a quite big font, quite big margins, but again, it's supposed to be very good, so I'm excited to start it. And then last on my list is a book that I have been sent to read, and that is Running Girl by Simon Mason. Now this is a YA book. It's about a guy called Garvey Smith, who is very intelligent, very high IQ, is a really very good pupil, and a lot of things are going his way. And that is until the body of his ex-girlfriend is pulled from a pool. That's when Detective Inspector Singh comes on the case, and he's trying to solve the mystery of where this girl's body has come from and who has committed her murder. So it's about his relationship with Garvey Smith, and the detective is like, I don't need your help. Or does he? So, I've heard very good things about it. It's been very popular. Again, I'm looking forward to reading this and getting into it. It's quite a hefty YA book. It's like 400 pages. But yeah, hopefully it'll be very, very good. So that's it for my wrap-up and my TBR. Let me know if you've read any of the books on either of my lists. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if I've picked any good ones or particular favourites of yours. And we'll discuss them and chat about them, and I will let you know once I've read them. I think my TBR is a little ambitious with me going away to America, but I can live in hope, and I'm going to try my best to get them all read before I leave. So that's it for today's video. I hope you're all well. I hope you all have lovely weekends, and I'll see you next week with a brand new video. Goodbye. End of the video bit, so I hope you're all well. Again, I'm sorry I haven't made a video for about a week and a half. My life got unexpectedly busy, and I've just been working a lot, and then I had a wedding to go to, but that was fun. So yeah, so this is my first video. There will be a video next week. Again, I'm not sure when, which is why I'm not putting a date on it, but there will be another video next week, so yes. If you do happen to be going to VidCon, please come and find me and we'll hang out. There is a booktube panel happening, which I'm very much going to. That is like one of the panels that I'm definitely going to be attending, and I'm very excited for it. So yeah, if you're going to VidCon or you'll be in the California area, like around Anaheim, let me know. We'll go hang out and we can just have some fun, and it'll be great. So I'm very, very, very excited. Yeah, I hope you're all well. I hope you all had lovely, lovely weeks, and I hope you all have lovely weekends. And like I said, I will see you next week with a brand new video. Until then, goodbye.